Okay, so now in this video we are going to set up Babel on the backend, which is the node side of things. So if you see, I've just added this start script which just does node dist/bundle.js, which we had done in the previous video. The other two scripts that I've added later are not important. So I'm just gonna move these two files out of src, so they're in the main application folder. So now we have index.js and config.js outside, and we are importing config.js in index. So now if you go to gulffile.js, this is our setup. Again, this is something that we did in the last video, and in webpack we have the output file name as bundle.js, which is why we had added dist/bundle.js. Now this is actually going to be the front end files, so instead we're going to do gulp and node index.js, and we want to set our project in such a way that this index.js also supports ES6 and ES6 plus features. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a new file. Let's call it start.js, or let's just go ahead and call it app.js. And in this file I am going to require index.js, and .js extension is not required, so I'll get rid of that. Now let's go ahead and do gulp and node app.js and install Babel core and Babel register. This is what we are going to import here, so that anything that is within index.js or beyond is going to be able to use ES6 features, and it ignores node modules by default. So now again, keep in mind you have to have app.js, because Babel register won't directly work in the file where you have imported it. So that is why I created app.js. Now let's go ahead and do npm start, and we still get the same error, unexpected token bracket. But if you remember, we had added Babel register just for that purpose. I just went ahead and saved, and now we're getting a different error, which is register runtime .js. I just did npm start this time, by the way. So I tried changing it, the input file to src, and I added a linker.js in here. Now linker.js is going to link to all of the files that are there in the front end folder. So I went ahead and did npm start after adding linker.js to gulp file, and this time we were able to build the entire project, but we got an error. So it again says regenerate runtime is .js is not found. So I went ahead and searched on Google, and I found the Stack Overflow answer, wherein it says we have to have polyfill. So I just added the entry point in webpack.config, and I went ahead and did npm run start build, and the build process basically just runs webpack. So now if you go ahead and do that, let's see what happens. So here you can see it was built successfully. Now in bundle.js you see all of the files. So let's just go ahead and do it again, and you can see the build folder is created, or dist folder is created, and our webpack.config is working. So now if you go ahead and do npm start, which is gulp and node app.js, let's go ahead and do that, and we get the same error again, regenerate runtime. So this is why we need Babel polyfill, and this should be useful for getting async await working as well. So we'll grab Babel polyfill, and we'll just do npm i-d Babel polyfill, which will install it as a dev dependency. Once that is done, we do npm start, and we're getting the same error. So why is that? So if we check our dev dependencies, we can see Babel core and Babel polyfill should be there, and we can see that Babel polyfill has been installed as well, and Babel core is already there. So we've got ES6 and stage 0, which we don't need. This has been deprecated, and yeah, there it is. So we haven't actually required Babel polyfill in our app.js. So let's go ahead and do that. So once we do that, we'll save, and that should be fine. I think if you check the package.json, we have all of the files in there. We'll save it and we'll run it, npm start, and hopefully it works. Yes, it does. Okay, so we have our server running on port 3000, which means now ES6 code should be working as well. And we go to localhost 3000, it sends a response, and we are also connected to our database, which you can see if you go to get kitties. Now if you go to get /about, it says cannot get about. So I just went ahead and checked my file, and in this it seems that we don't have an about path. Great, so we have ES6 working now, and we can set up Angular on the front end in the next video.